Heads, money, we hold, we need a terrace man stance. We got no talking unless you holding man. We hold, show me that man hands. We hold, gotta see that flow. Show me what that man hands do. Ladies, you can have that man hands too. Gotta see that flow. That terrace man debut. We hold, gotta see that flow. Show me what that man hands do. Ladies.
Here we go. We are live. This is the first ever Thursday Throwdown. I'm very excited to talk about football. I'm excited to have Johnnie Vibes back. Y'all might remember him from the Top Shot Street or just from some final table Liddy action last week on his own live stream. What's up, man?
How's it going, man? As you can tell, I'm not like a big smiling kind of guy. I'm very stoic, and I picked that up from poker, but as you can tell by the big cheese that I got going on here, I'm super excited to be able to talk sports.
Yeah.
I love sports. I love NFTs. So connecting with you about NBA Top Shot, and the NFL is eventually going to be in the NFT marketplace as well.
It's coming.
I'm just excited to talk all the things that I really love outside of poker,
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it was so funny. I've said this on the stream before. I've said it to you privately. I've said it to other friends. I usually, like August 1st, I'm like, let's go. It's football season. It's time to go, ready to dive in. You know what? This year, it took me a little longer. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be ready to go. And then the last 10 days, I am now jacked. I'm like ready. I'm all in on football at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up a massive football fan. I don't want to reveal my alliance just yet. A lot of my community knows who I'm a fan of. Actually, You know what? I should probably just reveal it now so we can get this out of the way, because I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy with this.
A jersey reveal? The Dallas
We're
Cowboys.
a Dallas Cowboys fan over here.
And when we were figuring out what day we were going to stream this, going back and forth between Wednesday and Thursday, I feel like this is opening night vibes, right? You were like, the Cowboys are on. This is how we're doing it.
Yeah. Obviously, if I could pick my favorite team, I probably would not pick the Dallas Cowboys because it's been a lot of pain my entire adult life,
Yeah.
But I was born into it. My dad grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and he grew up in the 70s, obviously America's team for all the local Texans down there. So I feel like if you're doing parenting right, your kids don't really have a choice on who their favorite team is.
That's right. It's so fun. So our upbringing was almost the exact opposite, right? Because when you were bringing up, like as a kid, the Cowboys, like when your dad was a fan, the Cowboys were good. And now you've grown up and the Cowboys are bad. Well, they're entertaining, but they're bad. The Patriots, when I grew up as a Patriots fan, and the Patriots were garbage when I was a kid. They were so bad. And then as I came into an adult, they have been dominant since I hit puberty. So we've had the exact opposite experience.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about the inspiration for even this show in the first place. I'm a new Vegas resident. I have an apartment in Vegas. So it gives me access to a lot of these like super high-end, high-value contests that are going on. Vegas is just like the king for these kinds of things. And last year, there was a couple poker players that caught my attention, David Baker and Mark Gregorich, who were just crushing one of these contests. They won like hundreds of thousands of dollars. They almost won millions. And I was like, what is that? I want to see what's going on with that. The thing about poker players is like we're very data driven people. And we also don't like contests where we're betting against the house, where we're like, the casino has the advantage. So games like blackjack, roulette, all the games that you find in the pit. I don't like those games and I don't play those games. But this idea of a survivor pool, all the other contests that the Vegas casino sports books run as like promotion to get people in the door, they're actually very high value contests. The one that I hit you up about and was kind of the inspiration of the show was the Circa Survivor Pool contest.
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up right now.
It's a $6 million guaranteed. And
that's crazy.
I don't know, I don't know how often they update this, but that says that there's a overlay of
2.8.
Exactly. And there's no rake. And we're not competing against the casino.
Yeah.
We're competing against other people that are just picking their bets. So this feels a lot like a poker tournament.
This does. This feels like this is like early days of when I got into online poker, and I'd get a text from someone being like, hey, there's a tournament starting in 35 minutes and there's a massive overlay. You got to like 35% overlay. You got to get in here now. This is what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. My concern is that they haven't updated this in like 24 hours and everybody's just flooding to the casino. This is like almost like marketing right here.
Right.
Just leaving this number low.
Exactly. Especially right. We are now like 2 hours away from kickoff of week 1. So, people are just like scrambling to get their entries in.
Yeah. And there's so a little bit of, you can actually see it on the screen, but every person's allowed 6 entries. So because because I'm in Nevada, I signed up for all 6 entries.
Smart.
And nothing goes to the reg. And they're guaranteeing 6 million in the prize pool. And to just like a refresher, if people don't know what Survivor is, you pick one team a week, and that one team needs to advance to the next week by winning.
Right.
And once you use that team, you're no longer eligible to use that team again for the rest of the season. And Circa's pool is a little bit different because they have their own weeks in Thanksgiving, and they have their own week on the Christmas week.
Oh, I did not realize that was its own week.
Yeah. So those weeks only have 3 games a piece.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to like plan ahead and look to see in those 3 weeks, save some teams basically.
Right.
Like we can't.
And so not only that too, but with the additional week this year, right? So we're now going 18 weeks. Each team's playing 17 games. It makes it a little bit harder than a normal survive for like, it was already going to be a little bit harder because you're going to have to rip one more. Now we're ripping 3 extra basically.
I mean, make no mistake about this. This is not like a great money-making endeavor here. This is simply a high EV lottery ticket,
Yeah.
And
we
for
like
those of you that don't know what EV is, expected value.
Yeah. We like high expected value. And because we're gross, we also like lottery tickets. So this is a good combo.
Yeah, and I'm actually excited to be super involved in sports again. I grew up just like a massive sports fan, and as like life happens, and we go down our business paths and things like that. I got so into poker that I kind of fell off with sports a little bit. I mean, I'm obviously a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, so I was dying with them every week in and week out.
Yeah.
So much so that I don't even do fantasy. Like I'm that big of a fan. I'm a fan of the Cowboys, and I'm a fan of everyone else who is playing a NFC East opponent.
Yeah.
And then I have a few teams here and there that I don't like.
It's so funny because I remember you saying that when we did the stream that you were like, you weren't into fantasy. And I was like, you might be the first poker player I know that is not into fantasy. But that's true. You're able to maintain your fandom because I find it the hard way. I try to just like leave the Patriots out of my fantasy football experience so I can just enjoy those games and not root hard one way or the other. But inevitably, we come into a situation where I'm like, well, I'd be okay if Amari Cooper went for 8 for 130 and 3 touchdowns against the Pats tonight. And that's a weird spot to be in. So kudos to you for getting it out of there.
So I also wanted to incentivize people to kind of like play along with us, So I started a pick'em pool and I sent the link out today. We've already had a bunch of people sign up. And by the way,
dropped it in the chat as well right now.
1 entry per person. And the way that I know that you're only going to have 1 entry is I'm going to email you guys after you enter, and I'm going to say, what's your Venmo?
Yeah.
I know you're like 1 Venmo per social security number. So I know that you're not gaming the system if you have a Venmo.
It's funny. And you could tell, I think the second you said, what's your Venmo? And the audience was like, oh man, Johnny's just going to like drop us some cash. And it's like, no. This is me confirming it's just 1 person.
Yeah, exactly. Because like a lot of times what people do is they'll just try to like, max the number of entries and just, try to game the system.
Yeah.
And depending on, I don't know, I'm prepared to offer, I think it's just going to be fun. And something that's like, I can just easily pull out of my poker budget. So I'm thinking like, based on how many entries we get, I'm thinking like every week, just like the guy that wins or the person that wins the week, just drop them $100 on Venmo.
And you know what? This is what I'll do too, to incentivize the people who are in Top Shot or who are new to Top Shot. I'll throw in, I don't know if I can do 117 times. I'll throw in a $25 moment on top of that every week. So each week we'll have $100 winner depending on the size, and then a $25 moment on top of that.
Yeah. Do you want to do a $25 moment? Well, no, we should probably only do first place.
Yeah. Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. First and second. Yeah. Let's just do first place just in case.
And obviously, like, this is my first time using the software. So if like things go wrong or things come up, we're always like open to shifting to a new software.
Yeah.
Or like so many people are playing. Maybe we could pick up a sponsor.
Oh, dude, Johnny, listen. I know you've tuned into the marketplace at times, so like I know you have to be aware, but we are constantly hungry for sponsorship. So you're gonna fit right in here.
You know what the dream sponsor for something like this for me, at least me personally, would be a DraftKings. Like if we could land a DraftKings, they're in the NFT space. They already have a marketplace for NFTs. They got the sports betting going on. We're participating in a sports betting endeavor in the Survivor pool. We're hosting a pick'em league.
This is easy.
We love NFTs. Like it just makes sense. And DraftKings, if you're out there, this show is in Genesis. You can get it for a very cheap price if you guys want to come in and maybe add some money to the pick'em pool for us. We would love to have you.
Yeah, and I would say financially, DraftKings is doing pretty good. So the least, just give back to the people a little bit. Give back to the people. We're doing it. Artemis in the chat said, do we need a password for the pool? I believe the link I shared. Let me share one more link because I believe the one that I have is like auto password, but I know there is a password as well, I believe. But hold on, let me get this. Let me drop the other link in there.
Yeah, the link actually has the password coded into the link, so you'll be fine.
I just dropped I think what I did is the first link I dropped was after I had already signed up and logged in, so that was like to my homepage. So I just sent you another one. So get in there.
So, I mean, I think here's the thing: is that when you're a fan and you approach sports betting in a way that's like, very fan casual, we're fish. I'm not a sharp, and so I'm gonna have to like reach out to some friends, rely on some like data analytics tools. I actually subscribe to one, which is a pretty hefty monthly fee that I'm going to be using throughout the season. It's a SaberSim. Actually, that could be another sponsor.
SaberSim, yeah. Don't even say the name until SaberSim throws us a couple
balls. So we have those. We also have to like plan ahead on these Survivor picks, because like I said, the Thanksgiving, the Christmas, we can't be burning teams. The thing that I like is that there's no way we're using the Bucks in week 1, so I don't have to root against my Cowboys.
No, you don't have to. There's no way we're touching them. And I don't think we're touching the Cowboys either.
Yeah, no, obviously. So they opened as -6.5, I believe.
I actually saw it go all the way up to 8, but I think it's
at 9 now.
9. But what am I missing here? 9 feels super high.
The offensive lineman for the Cowboys, Zach Martin, is their best offensive lineman. He has COVID. Out.
Oh, he has COVID. Okay, so they're just.
I think that's going to be a big thing this year, the COVID thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, when we were talking about this, we were concerned a little bit that picks were going to have to come in on Wednesday, and I was like, man, so much news is going to happen from Thursday to then. But yeah, you're right. I think COVID's going to be. He's going to be pretty tricky. But so I think before we get into like the specific picks for this week, I kind of wanted to just touch upon strategy in general for eliminator picks, because I think there's a lot of different ways people attack this, where like one way that I've done it, I know, is like, okay, who can I isolate as the worst teams in the league? And then like in the same way in fantasy football where you just like stream defenses, same thing. I want to stream teams against the Lions and the Texans this year, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Right. And that's how we like burn some teams that you're not super excited about. I think that's probably a little risky. And so I guess I wanted your take on that. Like
I do like the strategy of, so we're gonna rely on some poker terms here, right?
Yeah, let's do
it. We're gonna have a mixed strategy here.
Yeah, I love it.
Like we love knowing what's optimal. Let's talk optimal. Optimal is what the betting lines are.
Yep.
We don't have to worry about who's home, who's away. Being home and being away is baked into the actual Vegas line. I don't pretend to know more than Vegas knows, but what I will say is that their line is optimal. So we can think of that as like an optimal strategy. Optimal strategy, if you could like scatter plot the whole entire season and say like, okay, we want to go with the highest point spread every single week if possible. And then you kind of just like plug that data analytics wise. Yeah. But you don't know what the point spreads are going to be like far out, right?
Right. For all the things that we've talked about, COVID, injuries, like something you could be saving the Bucks for a week, and then all of a sudden Brady's out for 3 weeks because he's 44.
It's just like this in poker. You know, we have pocket aces pre-flop and we raise it up, and our plan is to bet flop, bet turn, bet river, right? But like things happen. You know, maybe a straight comes out on the board, maybe a flush comes on the turn, like where we might take a different strategy. So
pivot.
By the way, guys, I'm a professional poker player, so like I'm going to be throwing out these poker analogies all the time when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. And I had a 6-month window where I thought I was going to be a professional poker player. So I feel comfortable with terms. And that's about it.
Okay. This must have been like 2010-ish.
When you went
when you were like feeling like maybe you were going to be a professional poker?
Dude,
2006 to 2010?
2006. 2006.
Okay.
I played the main 2006 and then played seriously like 2005 to 2008 and then chose a different life. There was
a lot of guys in that boat, man.
Because we all saw it on TV and got excited.
And also it wasn't as hard to win back then.
It wasn't as hard to win.
Recreational. And
it was a little bit more accessible online. I think that was a big part of it. And when all that shut down, that kind of adjusted the accessibility for a lot of people.
Well, so here's the problem with fading teams, like picking like the Texans or the Lions or whatever. The Lions did actually go 0-16 one year.
Right.
But the problem is that the Lions and the Texans have to play divisional games.
Right.
And when they play divisional games, that means they're playing teams twice.
And so especially with the Jaguars, who are in a shit division. So like all of those games are kind of a toss up, right? Like even this week, it's like Jacksonville and Houston, right? It's like, okay.
That actually might be a popular pick. Have you looked at any of the Survivor grid like tools?
I hadn't. So this is what I've been looking at. I was just looking at odds to get a feel for. I wanted to like cross off games, right? So this was my first approach. I don't think many people are going to touch Tampa, Dallas because I can't see people burning Tampa yet. And I know they're a pretty big favorite. I just think too much of the public likes Dallas.
So here's the thing. Here's another thing about Tampa, specifically for the Circa Survivor pool. If you save Tampa to week 20 because they have the 2 additional weeks with Christmas and Thanksgiving,
right?
And you play Tampa in week 20 and they win in week 20, it's $1 million bonus on top.
Oh my God.
Yes. They're just like, they're baiting us. They're reeling us in.
So and you know what's so funny? Normally I'd be of the mindset of like, okay, fuck that. Everyone else is going to do that. I'm not going to do that. $1 million is a reason to do it with everyone else, though.
Yeah, but at the same token, like if it gets later in the season and like Tampa is a must play for us for whatever reason, obviously we have to go that way.
Yeah, you fire. Wow.
So we have 6 entries, by the way. I think I mentioned that.
Yeah. So you have 6 max.
Another strategy before you look at the games is sometimes if we get later in the season, there are opportunities to go both ways.
Right.
And, you know, I'm not a go both ways kind of guy, but like, you never know.
Hey, in the right situation, if you open mind, if you have, you're right. Cause if you still have like 4 teams live and you're in a tough spot and you haven't used the Bucks yet, but the Bucks are in like a smash spot and you're like, all right, maybe we save 2 for that $1 million rip and then throw 2 away.
Yeah, exactly. You know? It like will guarantee you moving on to the next week at a cost, obviously, because each entry is $1,000.
Yeah.
But going back to poker analogies, like you can't win a poker tournament only playing it safe.
Right.
A big one like this would be equivalent of the main event where you have 8,000 entries. You can't just play all of the best hands in all of the best spots and expect to win the main event, right? At some point, you're going to have to put your tournament on the line in a high variance spot. You're going to have to go for glory in a spot where it might not be quote unquote optimal. And I envision Survivor pools the exact same way.
Yeah.
Like if you just could optimally pick the highest point spread, cross-referencing it with the teams only being used once and have a computer simulate that out every week, you probably aren't going to win.
Right.
You know, like you're going to have to go against the grain at some point. You're going to have to be contrarian. And the other thing is that like the popularity of a pick actually matters because if like 30% of the public is on one particular game and that particular game ends up losing, that's going to wipe out 30% of the field. And you, because you were contrarian that week or stayed off of a high popularity pick, could put us in a better position later on.
Right. And I this is where my like fantasy football or basketball, whatever, brain turns on, where it's like, I'm not trying to finish tied for first with 75 other people. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to win this thing. I want to come in first place by myself. I want to take all of the money. That's where the money's up top. You don't get a lot of, I mean, whatever. You can pat ourselves on the back if we come in third, but who gives a shit, right? Yeah. And the way that you make that move is by just pivoting a little bit. And what I like about the eliminator pool is that pivoting, you don't have to put yourself out there too far. It's not like you have to get wild. You don't have to take the Texans in a week, right? The goal is like, if you're looking at like projected ownership for these teams and you see some team is like 75% in an overwhelming situation, like 75% of the field are taking the Rams against the Lions, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
There's other teams that are going to win this week, right? And there are other teams that are in good spots, and you can find ways to just be like, it's not necessarily like, even if they win, it's still the right move to pivot off it because you didn't burn that team that week. And if they do lose, you gain massive advantages, like lapping the field in such a crazy way.
Yeah. Think about this. There's 32 teams. Like this is a macro view. There's 32 teams in the league and there's 20 weeks. So to win, you're going to have to use 20 of the 32 teams.
Yeah.
Like
you're going to have to use at least like 5 bad teams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to use teams that are gonna end up with losing records,
right?
know?
And that's what's tough. What's tough about this too is I think a lot of people are just are approaching this as this is exactly the point I was going to make. Shout out We the People. He says you have to look at season schedules deeper for survivor picks, and that's what I was just going to say. I think a lot of people approach these tournaments, and maybe less so this one because you're putting up a little bit more money than the normal survivor picks. But a lot of people approach this like survive, right? All you got to do is get through week 1, and then we'll figure out in week 2, and that works for like 8 weeks. And then you start getting put in really tough spots.
Well, you start running out of good teams.
Exactly. So you're
going
to have to
just aren't there,
Exactly. Because you're going to have to take a couple of teams that are a little dicey. And if you are going to have to do that, you got to find them in the right spots, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. So we all start out with these strategies, but I think it's good to have like our high overarching strategy where we're kind of going through it every week on like the different variables that have happened. And like, that's why I'm excited about this show, because like we could not have this show and we could just like talk through our picks every week, or we could get together and, the chat could like make fun of us for our survivor picks last week. And then like the survivor pick that you were adamant about last week that we lost, I could give you shit about it on stream.
No, it's like that. And I also love just talking through it because I both in like fantasy and in picks, I will like zero in on something. And sometimes it's like good to hear the other side of that so that I can just like open my brain a little bit more and be like, okay, there are other options than the thing you saw on Tuesday, right? Like, of course we're starting to research like Monday and Tuesday when lines come out, and that's not necessarily, there's so much that happens in those times. So
in a dream scenario, we make it to week 20, we win the 6 million.
It's cool.
And then we go back through here and we make a compilation video.
Yes.
Of like for starting from week 1, when we were talking about how we were fish.
Yeah.
All the way up to week 20 when we're hedging bets for $100,000 at the Bellagio.
Yes. I will say though, even if we do make it to week 20, I will still feel fish-like. I think that.
Oh yeah, of course. You know how many people make it to the day 7 of the main event that have no business being there?
Absolutely.
But just in case the dream scenario does not happen and we do not make it all the way, unlikely event we don't make it all the way to week 20, we have our week-to-week pick'em. So that'll keep everyone coming back. We got the week-to-week pick'em. You can go against Mike, you can go against me, and at the end of the week or at the end of the year, we'll be able to see who had the best record.
Yeah, we'll have a little fun with that. And that's why that was like a great transition too. It's almost like you do content on your own, Johnny. Jeb says we have to pick all the games in the pool, right? Yeah. So we're talking about Survivor here, but the pool that we're doing, you pick them all. So you do have to get those in. You have to get those in before tonight's game. So you got some time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just, the worry is that we bust out in week 12 or whatever it is, but we want to do the show for all 20 weeks. So we need our anchor of the weekly pick'em.
I would imagine between the two of us, we could find some sicko like week 6 starting event in the same way that like when you get or I'm remembering like the Sunday Million on Poker Stars back in the day, I would bust out of that. And then there's like Second Chance Sunday. Like I'm sure we'd find something to fire money at.
For sure. We could find a new, and you know what else we could do? We could probably phone friends and bring some sharps in every once in a while to help us with some of these decisions.
I think that's what we got to do. It would be really fun for you and I to like spend 30 minutes at the top of the show being like, here's what we're going to do. And then have a sharp come on and be like, wow, you guys are so dumb.
But it's interesting though, because like sharps are sharps for a reason. And one of the reasons is that they don't share their information. So it's really tough to get them to come onto shows like this and reveal something that's super sharp before the game starts, you know?
Right. They will speak in very general terms, I would imagine. Maybe we can have them come on to talk about the previous week without divulging too much information about the upcoming week.
And I imagine as we start to get deeper into the process, like let's say we do go on a run and we're like week 16 or something, we probably won't be revealing picks on the show.
No,
we'll just be talking strategy.
Right, because at that point thousands of people will be tuning into this show. So
exactly, because they're gonna be like, okay, which way is Team Hold going?
Exactly, because these guys get it.
Yeah.
So let's look at week 1 a little bit. And what I wanted to do, what I was thinking about was just I wanted to, and like you've looked at grids too, so you have a better feel for like who people are going to be identifying right away. But I just kind of wanted to do like a quick glance to see like where do we think the majority of the public in this type of contest is going to land, and then kind of like forecasting.
Well, here's this. Do me a favor and go to survivorpicks.com.
Okay, cool.
And this is like a great grid that has been set up for us. There's another one that is also a similar one. Open this one up in another browser as well. It's survivorgrid.com.
Dude, look at this.
We have survivorpicks.com and we have survivorgrid.com.
Oh, I love this. Survivor Grid looks like it's an early website. Like this is from the early days. It's like the first one I saw.
So you can actually, so we're on Survivor Grid.
Let's start at picks.
You can click on the P percentage. Click that P. Okay. Go over to the Survivor Grid.
Oh, Survivor Grid. Sorry.
Yeah. And then click on P percentage, which is popularity of pick. And you can see right here the projected popularity of picks.
So we're seeing
San Francisco is going to be the most popular pick week 1.
And so like when you look at, and this is San Francisco scheduled the whole way out, right? So if you're looking at like easy W's, looking at San Francisco, right? You see them here against Jacksonville. And
well, so here's the other thing is that when we're going later on in the season, they have they have the Christmas Day week.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So the Christmas Day week, they play Tennessee on the road in Tennessee. Tennessee might actually be a good holdout for that Christmas week.
That's true.
I've actually pulled aside those. Maybe we should talk through the Thanksgiving and the Christmas week first, since there's only 3 games those 2 particular weeks.
Yeah. Do you have that set aside right now?
I do have it pulled up.
You can actually share your screen too at the bottom if you want, and we can look at that if you're comfortable doing that.
Okay. Let's see.
There should be a little button towards the bottom that just says
share.
And then we can look at that too. And and so
screen is easy as 2 monitors. Okay, share screen.
Power Duster says, so we all need 16 picks. Yeah, so for the Pick'em League that we're doing, and I'll share the link one more time so y'all can get in there. So we're talking about Survivor right now, but for the Pick League that we're doing, you got to pick them all. You got to pick them all for what we're doing. So thank you.
I actually have the 4K monitor, so I would prefer not to share my screen. It just blows it out huge.
Yeah. All right, we can just talk about it then. We can just talk about.
So the games on Christmas are San Francisco versus Tennessee.
Okay.
Cleveland versus Packers, Green Bay Packers. Colts versus Cardinals. So out of those 6, we have to have a team that week. And obviously, like Browns and Packers are both going to be good teams. Packers are going to be playing at home. It's going to be cold, obviously. So
I think it's San Francisco. I think that's right. Because everything else that's way too up in the air. And like Tennessee can be scary. I could see Tennessee putting up points, but that's the only one I'm comfy with right there.
For sure, but I think that we have to like leave our options open. Like maybe try to save Green Bay, try to save Tennessee. But not necessarily save San Francisco. So San Francisco might be a good play in week 1. And then the Cardinals at home against the Colts. Who knows how bad the Colts are going to be? We probably should wait and see on the Cardinals. Like maybe the Cardinals are going to end up being really good, and the Colts are going to end up being really bad. So let's kind of wait and see to week 3 on Cardinals Colts and kind of leave these 6 teams off of our board right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe San Francisco.
That makes sense. Wait, San Francisco plays Tennessee, right?
Plays at Tennessee.
Yeah, man. I guess it is a home game, so that makes it feel.
And it's a Thursday game. Thursday games are notoriously tough for the road teams.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so now we're looking at Thanksgiving weekend, and we have Thanksgiving. There's 3 games. We have Chicago and Detroit. Detroit's supposed to be terrible, but they usually win.
Yeah.
They usually win on Thanksgiving.
Or at least they make it scary. They at least make it scary.
It's usually close, yeah. Cowboys are playing the Raiders at home, and the Raiders are not supposed to be good this year.
No.
So that could be a good holdout for the Cowboys. Looking ahead at the point spreads, you can actually look at point spreads out that far. Take it for a grain of salt, obviously, because that's so far away. The Cowboys would be the biggest favorite that week. The Bills play the Saints. Who knows how good the Saints are going to be?
Yeah,
they lost their quarterback. Who knows what their quarterback situation is going to look like that week?
But at that point, famous Jameis, baby.
So I think that like teams like the Cowboys and the Bills and the Packers and the Cardinals, we probably should not play in the first 5 weeks before we reevaluate.
Yeah, I really like the Cardinals save seems really sharp because I do think the Cardinals are going to be better. I just think the West is going to be the NFC West is going to be way tougher than the rest of the divisions. And so even if Arizona's record's a little shaky, whenever they're playing out of conference games, I'm going to feel way more comfortable on them. So I love that idea.
I think it's weird that the Seahawks are only a slight favorite against the Colts in week 1 in Indianapolis, like barely a favorite at all.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that. That was one of the ones that stood out to me. Like if we wanted to get contrarian off the bat and cause I like Seattle, but Seattle scares the shit out of me week to week. So
yeah, they're -2.5. Like that just doesn't seem, I mean, maybe, you never know with Seattle, obviously they're much better at home, but like
the chats were saying the Colts D is elite this year.
So that's where the issue comes in. When you have strong defenses, that could definitely change the game.
But for me, like maybe they keep it close. I just don't believe in Carson Wentz and
so let's pull up that grid again.
Yeah, let's look
this grid has some really cool tools on it. If you guys are participating in a survivor pool,
and this is a free site too.
Both of those are free sites.
Yeah.
So this one, you're sorting by pick percentage.
So it looks like half of the field essentially is coming from San Francisco and the Rams, and I was wrong. We're seeing like the 3rd most popular pick. It looks like it's going to be Tampa.
Yeah.
And that surprised me a little bit. I thought that was going to be a lot.
That wasn't Tampa earlier in the week. I think when the Zach Martin thing happened, a lot of people, I would say that the betting public, the quote unquote fish, are more likely to focus week to week and not plan out big picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're looking at Tampa Bay versus the Cowboys and they're like, 9.5 point spread, 9 point spread.
Just ship it.
Let's rip it here.
Yeah. So looking at this, the first thing that stands out to me right now is, so I think San Francisco and the Rams are pretty safe. I like not using them week 1. San Francisco maybe, but like, I don't think that's looking at this right now. The Carolina, New York Jets pick seems nuts to me. We have no idea what Sam Darnold is going to be. And I know the Jets are terrible.
Not Sam Darnold. I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought you were talking.
Yeah. Oh, no. On the Panthers. So that seems crazy to me. And I do think the Panthers are better than the Jets, but for that to be the 4th most popular pick seems aggressive.
I think people are just relying on history with that one, with the Jets.
And then even to see like Kansas City against Cleveland, Cleveland's good. Like Cleveland's going to be a good team this year. Seems a little, I don't know. I mean,
I think that honestly, we have to, I just don't want to make a huge mistake pre-flop.
No,
right?
totally. It's like
I don't want to make a huge blunder week one.
worry about
Obviously,
mistakes
since we
later.
have six entries, we can kind of spread them a little
Mhm.
bit. I don't mind going San Francisco and the Rams,
Yeah.
even though they're the two most popular picks. If you scroll over to the other
Yep, the other one.
yeah, the other grid, they also have a pick popularity. And you can sort by. And they
Same
also
thing.
have San Francisco Rams. Yeah, they have the same order there.
Man, I think the Panthers is a mistake. Like for
Yeah.
week one, that's it. I mean, I guess the part of the thinking is like use Carolina right now, right? Because the future value, which this is a cool column of like who like the Panthers is 2 stars, so it's not like you're itching to use Carolina again later.
I think some of the more interesting plays for me. Okay, so like I like the Rams, I like San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I think for a couple of our entries, we should probably go with a team like Jacksonville. Because
You're right, 'cause
like, when are we ever going to use Jacksonville again?
Never. And that's I mean, as long as we're comfortable burning one, I mean, like
I like let's hear like according to SaberSim, Jacksonville is a 63.2% win probability.
I don't hate that.
You know, 63.2% win probability is really good. And
that is pretty good.
When you look at, you know, a team like San Francisco, there's 68.5% win probability. So like the most popular pick has a win probability of 6% more than the gamble that we want to make. You know?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. And I mean, Houston has basically sent out flares being like, hey, we're not gonna play until next year. We're gonna trade.
So what have you heard anything on the Deshaun Watson stuff?
There's no way Deshaun Watson's playing. Like, I feel like we're more likely to see Deshaun Watson like in jail than we are on a football field this year. Like, he's in a tough spot.
Why do you need? So when I find a good massage therapist, I'm a one and done kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't really, I don't shop around with.
Well, here's what I'll say. You want to know why he's shopping around? Is because you could probably only assault someone once, is my guess. And now I'm feeling bad that this is going to be like a live thing that's recorded. I just mean like, yeah, he's probably bouncing around because he's making terrible, awful human decisions over and over again.
Allegedly.
That's right. Allegedly. I would say when we get over 20, it's a little hairy. No, but yeah, dude. Exactly. We the people. There we go.
Well, I mean, here's a good example that I think a lot of people can relate to because we're not all superstar athletes. Let's say you find a great Mexican restaurant that you love, right? Are you going to spend the next 3 months trying every single Mexican restaurant in the city? Or are you going to probably go back to the Mexican restaurant that you prefer over and over?
Yeah, no, you're going to stay where you are. You're going to stay home.
I mean, maybe you might mix in another one here or there, maybe like
occasionally,
just try things out.
It is a bad situation. It is a bad situation. That's what I'll say. It is bad. It is.
We should probably leave this one alone.
It is bad. Yeah. On cue, we the people was like, leave this alone. Yeah, it is bad. It is bad. But it is bad enough though that I do feel that the Jags are in play, which is terrifying to say that. And if we don't use them there, they're very live week 15 where they play Houston again. So we do get the benefit. They're the one that I want to
see them. We get to see them all season.
Right. And we get to see Trevor Lawrence a little bit more too.
He looked pretty good in preseason.
Yeah, he did.
So here's where my Cowboys come into play. I watched the Cowboys in the preseason.
Okay.
Granted, the Cowboys weren't playing their starters, but the Cowboys played the Jaguars and the Cowboys played Houston. And the Cowboys' second team did well against Houston.
Okay.
And the Cowboys' second team got trounced by Jacksonville.
Ooh.
So that tells me that and Houston was playing their starters, obviously,
that are all on different teams now.
Yeah,
they are doing a fire sale. I like that. I let's keep Jacksonville in play. There. So I wanted to throw one at you that I don't know if we would use again. The Minnesota Vikings against the Bengals at they're 2.5-point favorites. I guess right here is where you would use them, right? Because they do play Detroit twice.
They play Detroit. They also play Detroit at home.
Right. They're projected at 8.5-point favorites in week 5.
Yeah. So Minnesota versus the Bengals have virtually the identical win percentage probability according to SaberSim as Jacksonville and Houston.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I think that Minnesota is going to have a higher future value. So that's actually the last column on your screen over there. Can you see that future value?
Yeah, this one right here. So like
you can actually sort that by future value as well.
And that's like my point about the Chiefs pick this early. I was just like, I don't know. We know the Chiefs are going to be good. Same thing with the Bucks. Like you can find a better spot for those guys. And then you're seeing that with the Bills as well. And I guess
you look at the top like 10 teams in that future value, and you really don't want to use those teams that early on. Like that's why San Francisco is kind of an iffy play, because they do have some future value.
And it's crazy how much value the AFC South has just because of how bad they consider. Like the fact that the Colts are like a top 10 play is crazy. And I guess that drives home some of the fact of why Seattle maybe is a little scary week 1. But,
well, so this is a top 10 future value play.
Right. But just that, like, maybe I was under, like, two things, that I was undervaluing the Colts, but also that how bad the AFC South is, because you have Houston and Jacksonville 2 times each, you know?
I mean, your chat definitely helped out with that one, because I was sleeping on the Colts defense for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just, we're so focused on, the stars going down and like, not being like pretty unsure about their quarterback situation.
Right. But so looking at where is Minnesota?
So yeah, I don't.
Where are they?
See, you can see the Texans and the Lions have the lowest future value.
0.5 points. Oh no, that's week 1 pick. Yeah, that's crazy. 0 stars. But yeah, so the Vikings are like middle of the pack kind of. But you're right. So like Cincinnati, I do think they beat the hell out of Cincinnati. Just the combination of, like, Joe Burrow is probably his first game back from that catastrophic injury. Like their O-line is still a little shaky. And then Minnesota just has so many weapons that I think they could toast them. But when you it seems like when you look at week 5, right? You see KC's playing Buffalo. So you're probably not using either of those teams. Tampa Bay, Miami is interesting. Dallas against the Giants. I do think the Giants are going to be really bad.
I think the Giants will be another team to fade a lot this year.
Yeah. But this looks like the best pick, right? So Minnesota against Detroit. So maybe that's one instead of taking a risk week 1. Although I would imagine if we fast forward to week 5, that Minnesota will be the chalk, right? That would be like the most popular pick, and it wouldn't be close.
Yeah, when you're looking at Minnesota versus Detroit at home, I think that like a lot of people are going to be saving that one for right there.
Yeah, it's crazy how green it gets when you see Detroit and Houston on this grid.
Yeah. So I'm taking a peek at the other one, and they have this column called EV.
You like EV?
And it's an interesting column. EV is a expected value of your pick that factors in their future value.
Okay.
I believe. So like the lowest EV play in week 1 is the Cowboys, because they would have more value in later weeks. What's going on in OpenSea?
I clicked a link and it popped open. I had a link. I had a notification and something, and I clicked it and I was like, what the hell is this?
Did you have an auction that you're going for?
There is an auction up right now. I'm trying to.
That you're selling or buying?
Selling, and then I'm trying to flip it to buy 2 floor things and take a big profit is the goal. That's the goal right now. But we'll see. Anyway, sorry. I clicked. No, I did not know
this is a sport. This is sports and NFTs, like 2 of my favorite things right now.
This is me getting more liquid to participate more in these picks. Is what's happening.
Yeah. It thinks that Tampa Bay is a high EV play.
Yeah, it really does. I'm so surprised but I guess, you're looking at a 9.5 point line, that it makes sense. That's like one of the bigger lines out there.
Yeah. This obviously isn't factoring in using Tampa Bay in week 20 for the $1 million bonus.
Right.
But it's still nice to see. We can dream those $1 million dreams.
$1 million bonus is insane.
So I think we have a consensus that, I like Rams for sure. Yep. I like Jacksonville. Just because that's such a low. It's like a high probability win with like a low future value.
Right. That's why I really like that one too. I will say though, like, so if you're firing, say we're firing 6 lineups in, right? How do you feel like what percentage of those 6 would you feel comfortable risking on Jacksonville in week 1?
I think that we could go with 2.
2, yeah. That's where I land too. I don't any more than 2 makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I really like the Rams.
I'm a little worried about going more than 2 in week 1 on any team, just because there's so many unknowns in week 1.
Right.
And we don't want to burn out a lot of our picks with like one upset that like might not even actually be an upset when you actually get to look out into week 8 and be like, wow, actually,
right,
San Francisco was just terrible and we didn't know it,
So with 6, right? Would you want to? Was it like two Rams?
I think I'm 2, 2, 2.
2, 2.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
And I have no problem giving away our picks week 1.
Yeah,
everyone knows that we're not the sharpest on this. We are doing some due diligence with like planning out weeks ahead, looking at EV, looking at win probability, looking at simulations, looking at future value of teams. So we're ahead of the curve a little bit here.
Right. What we're doing is providing a blueprint for others in case they want to get into survivor picks. But by week 6, we're a little closer to the vest, I think.
Yeah. Some people are in the chat are talking about tonight's game and how 9.5 points is just ludicrous for the Tampa Bay Dallas game. And I honestly think that it's because of the Zach Martin thing.
Yeah, I mean, that is tough, right? That is tough. Also, I apologize if my Wi-Fi is I'm getting a notification that I'm a little grainy. 9.5 is a lot. And I know Tampa's strength. I mean, their offense, they got so many weapons, but their defense is wild. And if you're going against a banged up offensive line with a quarterback who's just back from injury, but I have this to me feels like a touchdown game. 9.5 is just so many points, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me, I'm probably not touching the game because it's the first game of the year. I'm going to mess around with some DraftKings probably, but that's the extent to where I'm going there.
Yeah. We could, so let's lock in these picks.
Let's do it.
We got our Jacksonville. I mean, that's it's a high risk play, but it's still a 63% win probability. We have Rams that we like.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I'm just going to share this comment because Dewey said, so we picking one team each week. You guys confusing me with the talk of 6 lineups. So there's 6 entries into this eliminator pool is what we're doing. So we have 6 different entries where you pick one team for the week.
Have you made your weekly picks? Maybe we should talk the weekly picks so that people
I haven't made my weekly picks yet. Okay. I don't. Well, actually, no. Yes, I have. Okay. I have made my weekly.
Let's share that with the people because that's what they're going to be competing against us in.
Should I show what my picks are?
Should we? And then I'll show you mine. Mine are already locked in. So
all right, let me see. I just want hold on. Let me make sure I've got the right thing pulled up before I share this. Right now, I was looking at the FanDuel odds. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'll share mine. I'll share mine right now. All right, this is what I'm looking at. I'm taking Tampa tonight. I'm taking Atlanta over Philly. I'm pretty chalk city, I think. I'm taking Buffalo over Pitt, Minnesota over Cincy, San Francisco over Detroit. I do like Seattle. I took Arizona over Tennessee. I think they were an underdog. Carolina over the Jets. I love the Chargers this year, although this will probably be like a gross game. Jags, Pats.
I actually really like the Chargers too, but I don't trust them. Living in San Diego, like I've seen what they've done year after year. Granted, those were Phillip Rivers teams, but it was always like these like the craziest. They call them like there's the craziest collapses. Like,
it was wild. They would lose wild games in the last minute. And there was crazy coaching stuff. Their kickers have just been historically awful. Like that they would just come in and miss like wild stuff. But I really like them. I don't know why. I'm like a huge Justin Herbert fan and like I love Keenan Allen. So I don't know. Maybe the new coach, this will be the year, but I would not be surprised if like Washington won 6-3 or something stupid like that. And then Denver over the Giants. I don't think anything crazy, right? I think the only underdog stuff I had, I will say, right, with Gus Edwards now missing, I don't know if you saw that, but Gus Edwards tore his ACL. So basically you and I are splitting time in the backfield for the Ravens now. That game's going to be
Le'Veon. They signed Le'Veon, right?
Yeah, they signed. But I mean,
who knows what we're going to get out of Le'Veon? He could end up being like a beast again, but he's probably going to end up being a bum.
Yeah, that my bet would be bum. I mean, luckily Lamar is good enough, so I imagine the Ravens are still good. But I think the only underdog picks I had were Arizona. I thought I had two, Arizona and one other team, but maybe it's just Arizona. So it's pretty
Yeah,
chalk city.
let me pull mine up. I had mine up too. Thought I
Yeah, I can move out, unshare my screen.
You can leave those pulled up, and I'll just like walk
I'll
through
go
them.
off it. Yeah. Let me I'll throw
compare
it back.
them to yours.
That's right, because you're 4K over there.
Pool settings. NFL. I gotta find it real quick. But I mean, mine was pretty similar to yours, except for I had the I don't know why I can't find it, but I went against the grain and I picked Cincinnati to win that game. That's like, I feel like in order to win like a week to week pick 'em, you have to kind of, throw in an upset here and there. I also think that the Giants just suck. And like,
Giants
so
are so bad.
I don't even know. I doubt they're a favorite, but I picked Denver over the Giants, even though Denver's quarterback situation is like, who knows what Denver's going to be this year.
It's so true.
And then
I don't hate Teddy Bridgewater, but like I don't know what Teddy Bridgewater's ceiling is with the team.
Yeah, it's really hard to know. And then I did pick Miami over New England. I don't know who's the favorite in that game.
I think New England is by like 2 points or 2.5.
Yeah, and it's probably the safe pick to pick New England because they still do have Bill Belichick, and they got rid of Cam for a reason. Which, by the way, what do you think about that?
As a Patriots fan, I'll be honest, I was pretty excited. And I it's not even that I'm anti-Cam, it's just that he could not complete passes. He couldn't throw it more than like 10 yards and he looked banged up. And I know he's supposed to be healthy, but I don't know. Mac Jones, Bill Belichick is ruthless, and I truly think that he was like, Mac Jones is the better player, so we got to go. Like, he's not doing it to spite Cam. He's doing it to win games. And I think, I'm kind of excited. I hope Cam finds a home, though. I hope he gets a spot where he can play.
Well, just judging based off of the throws that you were talking about, he looks like he labored so much making like those longer throws.
Yeah.
I just don't see another team picking him up, honestly.
Yeah. Because I don't know if he's like, sign me up as a backup. Like, I don't think that's what he's looking for. And I do think teams would take him as a backup. Like, why wouldn't Baltimore, when you're running out, not that Lamar and Cam are the same, but like if you're Baltimore that have so many designed rushes, like go get Cam as your backup. But I can't imagine. I can't imagine Cam like wants to do that,
It's so crazy watching a guy like Josh Allen sling the ball and then watching Cam, because you're like, holy, like this is like completely different throw right here.
Right. Josh Allen's a flick of the wrist. Cam Newton is like throwing from his stomach. Yeah. Right. Like his entire body is involved in that, where Josh Allen's just like a flick. It's 50 yards.
I mean, by the way, that guy is just a physical specimen. I can't believe like how he can throw the football. It's insane.
It's crazy. It is crazy. Matthew,
okay, I think we can make the last pick off of air.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Obviously, you guys will know what happened next week. It's going to be a learning process, but I think that we have like a nice little blueprint, a nice little plan of EV versus future value versus saving some teams for Christmas week and Thanksgiving week and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm glad we laid out the rules, like especially for Christmas and Thanksgiving, because I know you even mentioned that in text, and I was like, oh yeah, well, I took it as like we'll have to film on a different day. We'll have to record on a different day. I didn't realize it was considered its own week. So that really like ups the strategy for this. So I think we did lay like the groundwork of how we're going to attack this. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Thanks for being down for this. I mean, this was like full disclosure, Johnny, this was like your idea to do it over here and to make content together. So I'm super pumped to be doing this with you. And I think this is going to be a good time. I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just like, I love sports. I love NFTs. I couldn't think of a better channel. Also, I went on your show recently, had a good rapport with you. I just felt like it made sense. And I wanted to talk sports. I wanted to talk NFTs. We'll see where it goes.
I'm down, man. It's going to be a great time. So we'll be back. We'll check in next Thursday. Hopefully at the same time. We'll figure it out as we get closer. We'll announce it. And we'll go over, see how we did week 1 with our 6 picks. And then And then, yeah, and then we'll
You best
move on to
believe I'm
week
going to
2.
be doing my homework because, I don't want to be a massive fish in this thing. $6,000 is a lot of money. So
yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. No, we'll be doing our homework. We'll be ready to go. And yeah, we'll be back. We'll see y'all next week.
And don't forget, we have the pick'em contest.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't win and get first place, you can still get more points than me, more points than Mike, and have bragging rights over us.
And that's what matters, right? And that's what matters. And just a reminder too, like as you mentioned that, right? So we've shared the link a bunch of times. I'll put it in the show notes. It's also in the Discord. Get those in before lock. But $100 a week for first, and then a $25 moment on top of that. So we're doing it. It's happening, y'all. It's happening.
Let's go.
All right, everybody. We will catch you next week. Enjoy the first week of football. I can't believe I'm saying this as a Pats fan, but I'm excited to watch Tom Brady play tonight. So I'm sorry to say that too, because I know you're a Cowboys fan. So, all right, we'll get you. You know what? We're going to we're going to have videos ready to go next week too for intros and outros. But for the time being, we'll give you a little PJ Washington to get out of here. All right, we out.
PJ Washington.